equity these days. There's no equity or equality in this situation because they are just as guilty. The companies, the managements are just as guilty as the guys that are going to be wearing the chains on their ankles.
More guilty. They push it, but the best is
well, at the least, just as guilty. Okay.
No, they probably planned it. What I really love is when they say it's the first time it ever happened. I love that. That's the best excuse ever. It's the first time. Yeah, okay. We all believe you.
listen. When someone didn't follow the rules and they worked for me, I fired them. I mean, it sounds brutal. It sounds brutal. I had one guy. I was running the precious metals trading department. I wake up the next morning and I find out. And by the way, this is a back when oil went wild. I found that the guy sold oil short. He's like a gold and silver trader. He sold oil short because it made a new high. So it's apropos what we were talking about before. So I get a call from the head of the energy department who says, "Hey, Andy, why is one of your guys short oil here when we're buying everything not nailed down?" I'm like, "Oh, let me find out." I call him up. I say, what's I was in London. He was in New York. I said, "What's going on? Why are you short oil?" He goes, "Yeah, I sold it because it was a new contract high." Yeah. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He was gone that day. Right. You didn't follow the rules. By the way, you traded outside your parameters. You did something you weren't supposed to do. By the way, that kind of stuff is unforgivable.
Of course it is. Right. It'll happen again. Right. No stocks until about what time would that be? 6:45.
Right.
The end. Not now. I don't do any stocks until where's the SEC and FINRA? Yeah, right. Okay.
The S&P and FINRA, they're failure to supervise. That's exactly right. And by the way, if the action is a crime, it's a crime all the way up the chain. And that's where listen, going to prison I've never been, thank God, and I never want to be. But it can't be a wonderful place, and someone who's spoofing is going to go into that federal pen with the gangs and murderers and all kinds of.
Your son will put
it's not a good place. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a fun experience.
Okay, we got to move on a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay,
that's okay. I heard a rumor, and I don't believe it. And I don't know if anybody else heard this. Okay, that Bitcoin is going before the SEC to get approval. Okay, I say no way.
I say no way.
Did anybody hear that rumor? Okay. In the meantime, let's cover a few things here.
By the way, the UK made Binance, put Binance out of business there.
Right. No, again, I say no way. That was my.
The regulators are going to crack.
Okay. Anyways, so Connie, you ready, honey? We're going to start a few charts and a few things here. So we'll start with the dollar. It's the easiest one, and of course, as you know or don't know, we are still long dollars, and we had that big spike up and the pullback, and to me, the dollar looks like it's just poised to make another big move higher. What do you think, my brother?
It feels that way. I mean, the trend is your friend. I'd rather be long it than short it here, no question about it. But again, the healthiest horse in the glue factory. All these fiat currencies are worth garbage.
Well, they always will be with garbage because, of course, they're run by criminals, anyways. I mean,
measure the dollar against all these other assets. Look at what other things are doing.
Isn't that where?
Bottom line is they're losing value. They're all losing value. All right, the dollar's losing value a little slower than the others, but
it'll catch up, though. Don't worry about it. In the meantime, I would say 91.50 to 92.50, Connie. I mean, again, look.
That's right.
It looks like it wants to go higher, and this would be a very bullish type bottom on top of.
The only way you're going to get an explosive move in the dollar here, or an implosive move, is if there's a major event. Otherwise, it'll crawl.
Right, but if we have any fear, remember the dollar and the bonds are the real place where fear goes, not the
VIX. Not the VIX.
Okay, and then of course, well, I'll go to euro currency. Why not? The euro currency looks like the mirror opposite, and of course, we are short the euro currency because it is the mirror opposite, and it's 56%.
57.6%.
One day I'll remember it. I doubt it, but one day I'll remember it. So it's a big percentage of the dollar index, and of course, it should be opposite, and we are short it, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, and here I would look to be a seller about 120. Okay, and I'm not a buyer at all, but I think the first support will be probably about 119 and probably 118.50. Now again, I will say what I said in the opening before you got here. This is going to be a very tough week in general because it's going to be very slow, and it's only going to get slower each and every day as we get towards the holiday. The only salvation for about a half hour will be the jobs number on Friday, if it is. Now, I'm not saying it will be, but that would be the only time I would expect to see any real buy. Okay.
Hey, by the way, Bubba, did you see that Globex is now eliminating the 15-minute pipe?
Yes, I saw that. They started today. It was interesting.
Yeah,
Yes, it's a listen. I think it's good. I don't know what the 15 minutes was for, anyways. But now there's no there's no more market makers, so that's all electronic.
Right.
There is no.
By the way, I don't even know. I don't understand why they don't trade over the weekends. It's electronic.
Well, they will. Listen, they will. That ain't far away. The 6C, the Canadian, I would default to 10 ticks, just like in the euro currency. Okay, 10 ticks would be my stop there. And of course, Bitcoin, well, it's basically just hovering around a bottom. Okay, had a nice down move Friday, big up move today. Look, at the end of the day, as we've said here many times, we both like it and believe in it, but we also know that the action here could be wild, and it could go back to 20,000, go to 10,000, and go to 100,000. Okay, and any monies that you are investing in the actual commodity or what, I don't know, what do you call this? Well, what would you, if you were going to call this a future commodity, what would you call it? What would be your title?
But what do you mean? I don't understand the question.
Well, I got called out and I said, basically to me, this is a commodity right now. Okay. It's not a currency. Okay. I mean, it may be cryptocurrencies, but it ain't a currency yet. It's not, I mean, it can be used in certain places, but I don't consider it a currency. Do you?
No, I consider it, it's kind of like gold in a way, because
gold is a hard asset commodity, is it not?
It's a hard asset. It's a means of exchange, and it's a commodity.
Please don't ask me for stocks until later. I'm not doing any now. You can ask all you want. I ain't doing them, so please don't waste the space.
All right, we only do stocks at the end.
Okay. Instrument, okay. Again, whatever. It's either, to me, if it trades at
tool. It's a tool.
I'm a tool. Okay. In the meantime, I got called out. I got yelled at for calling it a commodity today. Whatever.
You know what? By the way, that's what the CFTC calls it. So that's the right regulatory description of it.
I understand that. I'm just telling you what I get yelled at for.
Who yelled at you?
Who knows? Somebody wrote me a note in YouTube. As I sent out.
Everyone is so sensitive.
What do I care?
Oh my God!
In the meantime, it looks like probably 32,000 is probably support, maybe 30. Look, again, this is hard. If you're going to get in here through this product, okay, it just has to be with the risk capital, because there is no real levels, because there is not enough liquidity.
No, I got to call this 30 to 40,000, and that's it. Because unless it goes well below 30 or well above 40, it's going to just screw around in this trend, which is a consolidation to digest it halving in value.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. That's what, when we get to gold, I'm going to talk about that.
Okay, great.
That's on my schedule.
That's on your schedule. Okay, we're going to go to crude oil first, because we're
going to crude oil first.
It got hammered. It's going way down.
Okay, reversal day.
Yeah. It's reversing a monster uptrend. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I mean, look, new highs today. All right, we settled weak. By the way, you know what? The bottom line is markets correct. This thing has been steep. Look at crude oil, look at natural gas. The bottom line is, forget about the economy. It's all about politics, folks. 100% politics. These are political moves because of U.S. energy policy. We've been saying it since January 20th. We've been saying it since Election Day. The bottom line is, they lit a bullish fuse under crude oil and natural gas, traditional energy commodities, fossil fuels, and the fact that the U.S. our production is going down, or it's not keeping pace with this robust demand, that's very bullish for these commodities. Can crude oil sell off to $65? Absolutely. Will it be higher a year from now than it is today? My guess is absolutely.
Unfortunately, as you know, I hate crude oil, but I have to agree. Okay, look, when you're dealing with imbeciles that we're dealing with now that cut production and no longer want to be the world leader, supposedly for a green environment, which is a bunch of hogwash to begin with, because as we are the pimple on the ass of China and India, they're never going to be green. So
But hold on, not even that, Bubba. The bottom line is go out in the street, look at the count the cars. How many cars are running on gasoline? What percentage would you say?
98,
Well,
90,
okay, so
100.
that means we need this stuff. We
I
need this
know.
stuff.
Look,
We need this stuff.
it's as dumb as you can possibly be.
It's
And
dumb
it's
as
a
dirt.
stupid agenda. That's all. And
Dumb
anyways,
as
I don't
dirt.
want to get into it. In the meantime,
Right.
72 to 75. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Bubba Talker today. Yeah.
Bubba Tucker. You should go to gas next before you go to gold. Go to
I don't
natural
know,
gas.
yes, but,
Stay in the energy.
natural gas. Yes. Listen, this is so uncharacteristic for this time of the year, unless there are hurricanes going on. which
Okay,
is-
so today is what day? January 28th? June 28th?
yes, a year
One
ago.
year ago today,
Yep.
1 year ago today, natural gas traded at 143.20. Okay, it was the lowest price in a quarter of a century, and now we are double, approaching triple that level. U.S. energy policy, folks, it's 100%. Last year, stockpiles were 30% above the year before, and well above the 5-year average. And the most recent reading, they're 17% below last year, and they're 6% below the 5-year average. The bottom line is we're not producing as much, and we have a burgeoning LNG business. We're shipping it overseas. So
Can we get the 15?
get ready for shortages.
Can we get the $15 again?
Nah, I don't think so, but we can certainly get to 4, 5, or 6.
I mean,
And
so,
by the way, we're coming into hurricane season.
right, exactly. So,
And by the way, it's hot out. That means air conditioning. And by the way, what does air conditioners run on? Electricity. And what is the generator of electricity? Natural gas.
oh, really?
Yeah.
You're kidding. Anyways, all right. We will go to gold. I knew now, before
I
you
wanna
say
talk
what
about
you have to say,
Yeah.
gold itself is stuck in very solid, tight consolidation. Okay, it does not look like it is bottoming. It looks like it's got room to break to the downside because it's actually consolidating on the upper end of this band here. And the rallies have been extremely weak as far as I'm concerned. And my expectations, now we are short. So again, that weighs into part of my analysis. But just looking at this, to me, it's settling from the 7 days in a row down and going sideways, only getting prepped to go down once again. What are your thoughts, my brother?
Okay, so this is a gold derivative. This is gold futures. Basel III, the protocol, the international agreement. The bottom line is that it makes gold a zero risk asset, which is now paper gold futures, gold ETFs, gold mining stocks, they are not zero risk assets. And unallocated gold is not a zero risk asset. Allocated bars of gold held in vaults in London, New York, other countries and cities, that is a zero risk asset. That will encourage banks, central banks, and others to increase gold reserves. And that is bullish for physical gold with a P, folks, not for derivatives, not for those things. You can see some real divergence now, potentially, because of this change. So I'm not saying it's bullish for gold, but it is probably very supportive of physical gold that you might hold in your vault or in your drawer or under your bed or something like that. A zero risk asset is very big in terms of the banking world. So it could encourage some buying eventually. I mean, buy the physical. We say this all the time. We might be short up the yin yang on these gold futures. And you know what? I'm comfortable being short gold here. But until the trend changes, then I'll be comfortable being long. But as far as investment, I want to own physical gold. I want it in my vault. And this, by the way, this just makes the case stronger. So that answers the gentleman's question, and that's that's the event in the gold market today.
Anyways, so for level wise, 1750 to 1800, but I believe it'll break to the downside. Anyways, I think it's look, again, I own physical, I am short the board, as they say. Okay.
Right. Same here.
So again, at the end of the day, years from now, gold will be much higher. But today, and based on the algorithms, we are short, and I'm not uncomfortable. I think it's going lower, and I think I'll be buying some more physical in a couple of weeks.
I thought I answered that question. What do you mean London and COMEX? London, the bottom line is that the warehouse, the gold in the warehouses are zero risk. The futures, the derivatives are not. The gold, physical gold is a zero risk asset. I think that
Right.
answers the question. Yeah.
So the answers are fine. Silver, okay, same pattern basically, maybe a little bit better, but again, we are short silver, and as Andy will always tell you, silver is a wild asset that goes all over the place whenever it decides to. And you know, look, at the end, we're
Last year,
short right now.
Right. Last year we had an $18 plus range.
Right.
This year, through the first half of the year, it's almost over. We have a $6.60 range. The bottom line is it's sleeping, man. It's hibernating. It's in a coma.
Right, and the biome tells you that it's in a coma.
Right. And it's in a coma at a higher level than it's been in a couple of years, right?
So I would suggest that, again, you're just going to follow the rules. Now, again, if you're looking to buy for long term, buy it. I would buy some. I own it. Listen, I buy it all the time.
Right.
I buy 200, 300, 400 ounces at a time. So I mean, you know, look, I'm telling you that I'm always going to be an owner in my vault, okay, of physical metals. I'm never selling those. My kids will sell it. Okay, the minute I drop, they'll sell them. But
The second.
I don't care. I'm gonna. What's that?
The second you drop.
Right. Before they go to the mortician, they'll go to the gold. They'll sell the gold. Anyways, and platinum, you know, platinum's actually looked much better than the others.
Still a dog. Under 1200, you know, 1200 was the breakout level. Under 1200, it's still doggish.
Right. I mean, we don't trade it.
I love it. I mean, I love it physically, but it's a dog. It's been a dog. Failure.
When is it going to be like rhodium and palladium?
You know what? Every dog has its day, right?
I know. So in the meantime, we don't trade because it's not liquid enough, but I do buy it and I do own it personally. Okay, not on the board, in my vault. Okay, and copper. Okay, which is in a downturn and we're short. Okay, had a little spark for a few minutes, but then it came right back down. Now, you know, I always am concerned when markets, you know, are moving in any direction, when the volume is falling off the face of the earth. Okay, now we'll see. What is your take? You know, we're short, but what is your take looking at copper? I mean, you were bullish on copper, you know, before, and you said we have a bet actually, which I'm still struggling to get back my money from the first bet. Okay, that you screwed me on because I was right, but of course I got proved wrong first. But what's your take on copper here in let's say the next year?
My take on copper is the price goes higher. I think, you know, as Goldman Sachs said, and, you know, I do think they're the smartest guys on the street. Copper is the new oil. There's a lot of demand for copper. It takes 8 to 10 years to bring a mining project on. Hey, it got to almost 490. Did it corrected 80 cents? Okay. You know, and now I'd like to see it consolidate. I'd like to see it digest the move. And I think that it'll move higher again. I think that we haven't seen the highs in copper. I think we see a $5 handle. I think we may see a $6 handle.
Because we have our bet. Now I still say you want to press up? I'll double you right now. I have the edge this time though. I gave you the edge on the other. You want to press now? We can go. Okay. I say we see 4 between 5 and less. I think
all right. So yes. So here's the bet. The bet is it was dinner and dinner. So now you owe me a dinner and we'll break even. But if copper trades $4, I'll buy you dinner. If copper trades $5, you'll buy me dinner and I'll have dessert. How's that?
Okay. How long will the Chinese manipulate? Forever. Listen.
Forever. Are you kidding?
You know they want to take over the world. Okay. You know that, you know, there was talk that the US and China were maybe working on Bitcoin together to try to prevent it. The Chinese will never do anything.
Let me explain something to you about the Chinese. The Chinese have spent the last 3 decades making investments around the world, building hospitals in Africa, building schools, building roads, building all these things for one reason, to get commodities out of those countries and get them flowing to Shanghai and other ports in China. So it's not just what they have in reserves. They have a lot of reserves in the ground in places like Zambia, the Congo, all these places. So they're not running out of copper so fast. They will continue to manipulate the copper market. Why do you think they bought the LME? They own the LME. I mean, LME stocks have exploded higher. That's a Chinese playing games. No question. That's no question in my mind. They will continue to manipulate the copper market. The bottom line is they're out of the reach of the CFTC and the SEC and all the regulatory bodies. They'll do whatever the hell they want so they can make the most money. That's what they'll do.
Exactly. Okay. Look, that's the way it goes. And buying it with fiat currency, yeah, well, of course it's smart because the fiat currency is worth dirt and they can print all they want.
Anyway. Let me answer another quick question. As far as physical platinum coins, they are not more cost effective because they trade at much higher premiums because it's a much rarer metal. So you're paying the piper in the premium. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, you're paying more, but again, Andy and I both believe, or at least I do, that platinum will go overtake gold again.
Oh, I do too. But you are going to pay a premium for it.
Yes, you are. 100%. You don't get as close to spot as you would.
No free lunch.
China couldn't alleviate the traffic jam. Listen, at the end of the day, they're never going to do anything that's going to help us. Okay, this is the big fallacy in what's going on right now. And by opening the doors to OPEC and China, this is a mistake, a big mistake, no matter who's in office. All right. Anyways,
don't be surprised if China doesn't start mining in asteroids and meteors in space to bring metals back to the Earth. Right. Don't be surprised because that's the wave of the future. I don't know if we'll be around when that happens, but that's what they're looking in space for. What do you think they're looking for in space?
They're looking for a date, right? So corn, right? The commodities. I mean, look at the drop last week. Okay. I mean, you don't think you're going to see some sort of reaction to that? I mean, the grains are in a downtrend. I mean, Andy and I both like them, but we're short. But, look, you're going to get bounces no matter what. No market, whether it be equities or whether it be commodities, they always are going to have some sort of retracement no matter what they're going to do over a long time.
And you know what, Bubba? I loved corn at $3. At these prices, I'm agnostic. I want to follow the trend.
Right. Exactly.
I'm agnostic. It's not like it's at the bottom of it. It's not like at a price where farmers say, I ain't selling here. This is a different world now. We had some big moves in these grain markets. So we have to be a little bit more agnostic and we have to get back on the train of following the rules.
Right. And we think that it'll be much higher at some point. But right now, look, we're in a downtrend. And this bounce today in corn and in soybeans, I mean, soybeans was even less effective when you look at the overall picture. Okay. And wheat actually faded a little bit late. Okay. And it's just hovering around the bottoms. So, the trend doesn't change in 5 seconds. And you have to understand that no matter what, if you're long and you get a pullback, if the trend is up, it's most likely going to go back up. Right. And on the opposite of the downside. So
and one other thing about the grains, you have the corn and the soybeans were in heavy, big, steep backwardations where the deferred prices, the new crop prices were significantly lower than the nearby futures contracts. Wheat was different. Wheat was very flat, the curve. So you're seeing a lot less volatility in wheat, which makes sense now.
Right. The drought conditions of the West have really nothing to do with corn, wheat, and soybeans. It has to do with strawberries. I don't have for future than that, and avocados, but
and marijuana,
but not much on
corn and beans. Corn and beans, you got to look in from the Rockies east to Chicago.
Right. And they're producing in record numbers again in the Midwest. The Dakotas are always a struggle because it's the land is it's.
Yeah. By the way, did you see that MGE wheat, the spring wheat, really took off on the upside compared to the KCB and the CBOT?
Yeah. So
that really took off, but that's the Durham kind of wheat.
And the opposite I just said goes for the cattle markets. I mean, the cattle has been running. You're going to see some pullbacks. I mean, this is the feeders. Now the feeders
again, the baton today. So you had the feeders and the live come off. You had the hogs limit up today. So it just keeps passing the baton.
And the feeders were a no-brainer because not only did they need a little bit of a break, but when corn goes crazy to the upside, feeders are going down almost.
Of course they do. Of course they do. I mean, that's just increases the cost of raising them, right?
Montana, the Dakotas are tougher than Montana, I think. I know the Dakotas are very tough. Okay. So anyways, and of course, fat cattle or live cattle, again, right on support. I mean, look, Is it going to keep, is it going to return? I would suspect it's going back higher again. We'll see how big. And if you listen to Bubba's Ayette yesterday, Bubba's Bottom Line yesterday, I said it would be no surprise to see a limit up move this week. I didn't think it'd be today, but here it is.
There it is. There it is. By the way, the dollar, these big levels also sometimes in these meets are important. So it dropped below $1, came back. Now we're up, where are we in July? $1.05. Okay. All right. What's the next? Well, let's see what happens tomorrow.
Right. I mean, again, at the end of the day, these things will go up and down, and the trends don't change that quickly. Okay. And if you just look at the prices, you can see going out into December, they're at 80. Okay. So there's tremendous backwardation here. And we'll see. Like I said, we don't predict, we just follow the trend. And at these prices, if it was 30 cents, I'd be jumping in with no matter what.
Right.
At $1.
You'll be jumping in with both hoofs.
Right on, baby. Me and the farmers are alike. I put them in my own silo.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see. Did I get all this stuff? Okay, I got bonds left, right? Okay, I got bonds left.
That was a nice move in the bonds today.
Yeah, I mean,
bonds are just going. It's so funny. The bonds are just so counterintuitive to everything that's coming out.
Right. And it's amazing. And of course, the bonds, we've been long. Okay. And what you really have here is probably 158 to 161. Okay. And we'll see, right? I mean,
those are some of the smartest traders in the market, the bond.
Well, they're for sure the biggest, right?
They're the biggest, and so they're very smart. And you know what? They are this year, since last August, they've been basically sell the rumor, buy the news, buy the rumor, sell the news, go against the Fed. And that's what they've been doing. And you know what? They've been very successful.
Right. Right. Well, somebody wrote in China, better watch out. Biden will write a strongly worded letter. Anyway, so
better do it first thing in the morning before he falls asleep.
Yeah, right. Anyway, I mean, look, it's really consolidating, but it is consolidating in an uptrend, and we're long. The notes are a little bit different. They're not quite. They're strong, and we're long, but they're not quite as strong. Okay, and of course, the real key to watch is the 10-year, because the 30-year is a bond that people trade.
I love it. It's for the action junkies, the 30-year.
Right. I mean, the 10-year is what sets the rates, and it looks a little weak. And I would have thought if it had a down day today, it might have reversed signal, but it did not have a down day, so there's nothing to do from that standpoint. But overall, I mean, you can see that, as they say, the trend is your friend, and you follow the trend until it changes, because at the end of the day, that's what the markets do, and they trend more often than not. They go through long periods of consolidation. They go through some torturous trading, but overall, it's about catching the bus when it leaves the stop.
For the big move, for the little moves, by the way, for the little moves in the bond market, what you really need access to, and it's very hard to get, is you need access to the in-between issues versus the benchmark futures contracts. And, that's a very non-transparent market that's only available to the market makers and the big institutions that are trading bonds and making markets in bonds. And that's why I don't like to trade them on a short-term basis. I like to follow the longer-term trends.
158 to 161, Connie.
Absolutely.
Okay. So at the end of the day, Andy, I'm very upset, and I know you are, because you have friends there, but in the building in Miami, okay, that collapsed. They were told, the engineers told them long ago that the structure needed to be reinforced. It was not solid enough. And I go, that sounds like Katrina, when the Army Corps of Engineers told them that the levees were not going to hold up if anything happened. And of course, what happened? We got
listen. I was on a condo board in New York, and when the engineers come in and say, "Hey, this building has to spend $5 or $10 million," that means an assessment for everyone, and people don't want to pay assessments.
Well, I bet they'd want to pay it now.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean,
listen, my brother in Australia, he had two dear friends who had an apartment in Miami. And the kids went to school with my nephew and my niece in Australia, and they were in the building, and they have not been heard from. So the bottom line there is, this is a tragedy like no other. There's no survivors. I mean, these people are gone, and you're going to see at least in the beach. Listen, you got anyone who goes to like in California or in Florida or in anywhere along these beach, that salt air eats away at concrete over time. These buildings need constant servicing and constant strengthening. And 41 years that it was also built on a garage. So there were structural problems. This is disgusting. The bottom line is anyone who owns condos in this places, get ready for major assessments because, and this will be a boom for the another boom for the construction industry.
Right. I mean, listen, like I said, it's the same as Katrina in a way.
Yeah.
They didn't take care of business.
The only difference is that was totally unforgivable. That was the government that
I know. I get look at, but the government says, at certain times, like for example, the president said when the pipeline got attacked, well, it's the private company. It's not our business.
That's the dopiest thing I ever heard.
Well, of course it is. But again, the point is that they do this. We're always chasing our tails, and this is not just this administration. This is forever. When we look at all the stimulus money we're giving away. You take that money and you put it to work somewhere and make the people go to work.
Don't you understand that? Don't you understand this money? The money for these things have no political agenda attached. That's why they don't want to spend it. If they're going to spend to further their political agenda, they'll spend like drunken sailors. Right. The minute you're going to spend because there's a need, we don't need to do it.
Well, again, but the levies in New Orleans did have an effect, and they should have been taken. But anyways,
right, you're right. You're right.
Okay, so in the meantime.
By the way, that was the Army Corps of Engineers, Bubba, that said that.
Yeah, I know.
We need to listen to our own Army Corps of Engineers.
Right. Oh, but we don't listen to anybody. Right. Okay. Which is why Microsoft got cyber attacked last week. But, right. As we close the first part of our call and stop this recording and start the next one. But Andy, does the market ring a bell when it's going to change direction? Did they tell you? Did they warn you? Do you hear the bells ringing?
Oh, there's no bell. There's no bell. There's no bell. They just do it. And by the way, the biggest changes come totally out of the blue.
Right.
They come totally out of the blue. Listen, there are event shocks. I mean, there are event shocks. But I remember 1987. Bubba, where did that come from? It came from out of the blue. Remember that?
Yep.
Out of the blue.
Yep. Listen, you can see it. But it just happens. And, that's why understanding the price action of a market is so important and why trying to be with the overall trend is important, because that is typically going to be the direction in which markets move.
They hit inflection points. That's what happens. But it's very hard to identify those. And if anyone who tells you they know how to identify them,
they're full of crap.
They're full of, you know what?
They're full of shit. Excuse me. Sorry. All right. We're going to stop this recording. We'll come back with the actual Monday night right after this. Let me just stop
after these men. We get to hear the girl now, right?
Yeah, we get to hear the girl speak. They're going to give me like drawing my nails on a chalkboard. All right, hold on. Okay, and I get there one more time. I'm so lucky. Okay, I got to start the next recording. Okay. Thank you. I didn't know that. Okay. Anyways, so as we come to the Monday night call, and it's a little earlier, but we actually started. This is actually gone from a 60-minute call to 150 minutes. But in the meantime, it is the Monday night strategy call, and of course, we cover everything here from what we've already started to more. And markets again are crazy, which we'll look at them. But it was interesting today. I decided for one time. I get so much garbage email, as I know you do. So I figured, I got a number of different emails, and in just one email alone today, I got more than this, but this is 38. Okay, and these are all guys that are going to make me rich. Okay, I mean, and half of them are the same thing. I mean, I don't understand how they get away with it. I don't understand how they continue to do this. I mean, to me, it's ridiculous. I don't know. What do you think?
I get hundreds of them. I mean, I used to get annoyed by some of them annoy me more than others.
Right.
But hey, I see
the
invitations.
We are live on YouTube at the moment. Yes, I'm experimenting. Okay. How'd you know? Okay. In the meantime, okay, Vegas with Bubba. We are running on towards the end of the early bird. Okay, and it's December through 9th. It is a great event.
It really is. It really is a nice event. And you know what? Listen, Bubba teaches, I speak. We have Tom Caruso who does a presentation. We have Bubba's accountant who does a presentation. We have some other, Xander does a presentation, but it's also a time of camaraderie where we learn from each other. And it's a really good experience. And I recommend it highly.
Yeah, Captain, I'll send the links to Get Rich Quick, baby. You know, you can have them all. In the meantime, again, it'll be on the mail tonight. And again, if you want the early bird, we will sell out as we've done every year. Even last year, we had a full house. In fact, I had to turn a few people away. And we'll also be live streaming it as well. But in the meantime, remember that the markets are never wrong. Okay, that's the bottom line. Okay, the markets are never wrong. Opinions often are, and almost always are. And anybody who's got an opinion will usually affect their own trading. It is never good to be opinionated about the market. It is a device that trades off a price action. So no matter what you think about the economy, no matter what you think about anything, the market will go where it damn well pleases, and there's no other thing. There's nothing else to think about. What do you think about that, boy?
I think that you also have to realize, you will have your own opinions, which you have to suppress, but you also have to suppress listening to other people's opinions because there are some really stupid opinions out there.
I get a lot of those on VSiN, Vegas Sports Information. I haven't watched the news in 2 years.
Oh my
Anyways,
God.
I know you have it on all day, but you don't. You're not doing exactly what I'm doing. It's wild. So in the meantime, I can't be bothered with those people because the ignorance kills me. In the meantime, I always go through what I'm thinking. And of course, new eyes. The rally rolls on. Well, I mean, surprise! Did we not say that we expected the rallies to continue? I mean, we're only short one index out of all of them.
Tina,
that we went through Tina. You weren't here yet, but I did go. But you can say it again. There's no alternative.
Right.
Okay. So, look, until it stops, they're going higher. Now, I've been through, and I was a floor trader in 87. Okay. I was a floor trader in the 90s. I was a floor trader part-time during the collapse of 08. Look, there's always warning signs ahead, but most people don't heed those warning signs. And normally what will happen is they will all try to exit at the same time because something will trigger that emotion. That's why we are strictly rule-based when we trade. Okay. And of course, the Fed continues to beat the temporary inflation drum. I mean, look, the Fed is a bunch of morons. Okay. It's an organization designed to take our money. Okay. And
they're not such morons. They know what they're doing.
Well, no, I mean, they have no clue of what real life is. Never had. The whole model of the Fed was, if you read, The Creature from Jekyll Island was unbelievable what he wrote 20 years ago that is now taking place. Yep. And it's continued to devalue the dollar. Okay. And yes, they're not morons, but they have no common sense. And as I've said many times, I thought Powell was the right guy because he was very good. And when he was running a fund, but I can see that when you go to the Federal Reserve, you become an instant moron, or you become an instant government employee, and you don't give a crap about anybody else. So at the end of the day, okay, it is very, very scary because it is really creating a bad situation, which I'll get to in a second.
Right. But realize the difference, and we talked about this in the pregame. Realize the difference between transitory and temporary. They turned up the heat.
Right. How long will the rally last? Until it doesn't. That's the answer. There is no answer. It will run until it doesn't run anymore. And then if it changes, it will change. And if it doesn't, then it'll run again. Nobody can tell you when it's over. Okay. As I said, there are no bells to say it's over.
Yogi Berra said it ain't over till it's over.
Right. And when it's over, it'll be over. Then you'll find out. And I guarantee you, we will not sell the top. Okay. 100% guarantee today.
Oh, well, I guarantee you we'll be long at the top.
Yep. And we will sell on the way down, we won't buy back the bottom either, but we will catch the biggest piece you can possibly catch out of it.
The filet mignon.
Now, the capitalism versus socialism argument, and this is very scary to me. Now, for me personally, it's not scary because I'll be dead when all this takes place. Okay. But, right now, they're eliminating capitalism for the people that don't have money, and the very wealthy are very happy with socialism because they get to keep what they got. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, this is a really tough. This is an issue we could spend 3 hours
I know. I
discussing
just
here.
a quick drum roll
And
opinion.
look, the current form of government we have here is pulling this country towards more socialism. There's no question about it. But there's strains and there's lots of capitalistic people in this country, and it's a battle. It's a battle. But this government is going to do everything it can to extract from the capitalists whatever it can. That's the bottom line right now. The scariest thing for me is the Maoist, and the Maoist is where we indoctrinate, where we erase history and we indoctrinate young people through changing the educational system so they fit a mold. That's what's scary to me.
Yep, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. So the words of wisdom from our friend Connie, who always sends some great stuff. And it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up. And of course, if you've traded for any more than 5 minutes, you know you're going to get your ass whipped occasionally.
Yep.
Okay. It's the ability to get back up and fight the battle again.
Downdrafts are a part of life, and you know what? You got to go into it with your eyes open and know you're going to suffer them. But you can never have so much risk that they put you out. You want to stay in the game. Vince would say, "Stay in the game."
Right. And as Bubba says, keep your head in the game. That's the whole key. Okay.
Right.
And of course, she has added a new category, which is the State of the Union. Libraries will get through tough times of no money better than times of money will get through times of no libraries. Okay. And think about it. Okay. We're already raising a generation of idiots. Okay. That have no clue about what money is supposed to be, what potentials are out there. And, you take away all the history and you take away all the information that we can actually learn from. And I think you're creating a very big problem. What do you think, buddy?
I think that goes exactly to the Maoist thing I was talking about. And by the way, think about it last year when we were locked down, there was nowhere to go. A lot of people, they read a book they wanted to catch up on. They furthered themselves. That was a healthy period in some ways for some people. The money didn't really matter because you had no way to spend it.
Right. Okay. And of course, I've been bitching for over an hour, but my final bitch is, of course, Gwen Berry, third in the hammer at trials, turns away from the flag during the anthem. Now, again, I did stand up for Colin Kaepernick when he decided to kneel. I said, hey, it's a free country. I don't think it's the right venue, but it's a free country. But if she's not a professional athlete. She is representing the United States of America, okay, to get to the Olympics through the trials. What kind of idiot turns away when they're representing their country? Okay, tell me, please, somebody help me understand what kind of a moron does this that is playing for their country. Can you tell me?
Trade it to China.
I mean, can you help me with that?
No, trade it to China. I say trade it. Listen, they're going to let athletes make money, so let's trade them to another country.
I mean, I don't get it. You're representing the United States of America in the Olympics. Why would you turn away from that? If you don't believe in America, why are you competing?
Right.
I don't get it. It really, you have no idea how much that irritates me. But anyways, all right, let's get on to the business and of course the markets. And actually, what I'm going to do first, Andy? I'm going to do the softs first because I've been playing with TradingView. Okay. And I can get some of these charts now.
Nice.
So why don't we'll start with coffee. Okay.
Sexy.
Okay. Now we're short coffee at the moment. I would suspect that by tomorrow we won't be.
Yeah.
And this is actually, if you are familiar with what is known as a cup and handle pattern, this looks to be a cup and handle pattern being developed right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my subscribers in the Technomental, we've been long coffee for a year.
Right.
I just the action is good. It's Brazil. By the way, if you look at the Brazilian real, that's rallying against the US dollar, even though the dollar is strengthening. That's very bullish for these soft commodities, for coffee and sugar and oranges. So, that's a positive. But hey, bottom line, demand. The economy's booming.
We've done extremely well with coffee, but it looks like we're going to reverse here again. But again, I don't know that for a fact yet. But at the moment, we are still short. But the pattern to me, it looks like a cup and handle. Okay.
The target for coffee.
Look at it again. Another guy wants to start with the bull flag. Screw the bull flag. I only said cup and handle because it is one pattern that is very, very bullish, but I don't use it because it takes like 9 years to develop.
The target on coffee is $1.76 a pound. That's the November. I think it's the 2016 or 14 high. I'm not sure exactly but that's the target. That's what we're looking at.
And sugar, listen, we are still short sugar, and again, it's really just consolidating right now, but it could have a bullish tint to it. It may.
Let me tell you what sugar is. Sugar will watch oil because sugar is the primary ingredient in ethanol in Brazil, so it trades with oil.
And I agree with you, Captain John. Okay, they'll have been doing public, and then parachute dropped into third world countries. I'm with you, baby. Okay. And cotton, which we are long, and again, it looks kind of like sugar, actually. I mean, yeah. If you look at the two patterns.
Cotton's got a couple of problems. I mean, India is one of the world's biggest producers and consumers, and they're screwing up the market because the COVID is raging there.
Right. Okay, so we'll see. And cocoa, which we're short, and of course.
Cocoa looks terrible, but
the opposite of the others.
But cocoa looks terrible. But you got to remember where 65% of the world's supplies come from 2 West African countries. And this one can surprise on a dime.
Okay. And for some reason, I can't get a quote on OJ anywhere. Okay. I can get it from bar charts. And the price was down today.
Yeah, it was down 2.5 cents or so.
Yeah. So we're still short OJ. Okay. Yeah. Now, to the stuff that we actually cover regularly and actually track prices for.
The real stuff.
Well, it's all real, but not everybody trades all the sauce. In the meantime, the Dow Yankee Michael, which is what we use for a representation of the Dow. Now we are so short, okay, the Dow. All right, and last week I said that I would be probably 34,000 to 35,000, and I don't think anything has really changed. I mean, I think 34,000 is probably going to be some support, and you could actually, if you wanted to, you could look at 34.5 as a resistance level, which is where it failed from today almost, or 35,000. At the end of the day, there's nothing to believe that this is going to turn back to bullish today, and I would suspect it'll be short. So for now, I'd be looking to be a seller at 34.5. Okay, and that's if you trade the Dow futures or whatever. I am not a buyer at any point yet. Of course, it's intraday or day trading. I don't have an opinion. I will trade the price action because I'm trading a totally different time frame, which is 4 minutes versus a day. Okay, the S&P, which we are still long, of course, and continues to break out to new highs. And look, at the end of the day, okay, it's going up. Okay, and last week we said 4150 to 4250, and now it looks like 4250 has become support. Okay, and it looks like obviously there is no resistance. At new highs, there is no resistance. It is wherever it stops, that's the resistance. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the trend is so clear here, but the bottom line is you got to be long this thing.
Yeah, and the Nasdaq, November, Quebec. Look, I mean, it looked like it was dying about 2 months ago, and bang, right back to brand new highs, and we continue to go higher. And listen, we thought that we said we weren't going to sell. We thought we'd be a buyer somewhere around 14.2, and there it is. Okay, so there was an opportunity to get back in if you wanted. And again, right now I would say 14.4. Okay, now again, it could have a big nasty down day at some point, but the trend in the action is certainly bullish. Okay, and there is no reason to fight this model. Either if you don't want to be long, just stay out. Okay, but don't try to sell it or fight it. You'd be making a big mistake. Okay, and the Russell, in the meantime, O'Connor, 14.2 to 15,000. How's that? But I'm not selling it anyways. The Russell, Romeo Tango Yankee, we're still long this. I mean, it did reach almost the all-time high. It got close at 2350. To me, this looks like it's 2300 to 2350. Okay, and I don't see much. Do you?
No.
Okay.
No, I see nothing. I mean, it's the small caps. They were down a little bit today. All right.
Last week
it's the baton. It's the baton. Listen, the bottom line is maybe it'll consolidate. The others will make, continue to make new highs. And then eventually Someone will say, "Ooh, sector rotation. I'll buy the Russell here," and they'll take that higher.
Right. So, and I mean, we're still long.
It's a relay race, Bubba.
Yeah, indeed it is. And of course, the VIX is, the one that he's ripped me off on. Okay.
I didn't rip you off. The market ripped you off.
One day, and then it came right back down. I knew that was the case. I didn't think it would get that high, but here we are on our way back to 10. Okay. And, look, at the end of the day, although the VIX was slightly higher today, look, with all the changes made in the markets, I mean, there was a minor change made today. The futures no longer close from 4:15 to 4:30. They're open right till 4 o'clock. So they open at, 5 o'clock Eastern. They open at 6 Eastern. They close at 5 Eastern the next day. Okay. So
not anymore, right?
What's that?
Not anymore. They
close. They still close for an hour between.
Oh, they do. Okay. Those are going to close.
Everything closes between 5 and 6.
Okay.
And then they reopen, but they stop that 15-minute sell off or close
on the futures.
Right. And what's going to happen, all this does is it lowers volatility, because the more markets are open, the less chance there is for a major event or crisis to attack those markets. Okay. So that's one of the reasons volatility continues to fall. Now, remember, volatility is only based on orders, options to buy to open, not just puts. It's options in general being bought to open versus sold to open. Okay. So you can dream about it all you want. You can listen to pundits tell you that's the fear index. It only goes up because that's where people run. They think they can buy puts where they always get hammered. Okay. But at the end of the day, okay, it's really
every buyer who buys them on the opening, there's a seller selling it to them.
Right. Okay. So it's the same story. Okay. It's the number of options being bought to open versus the number of options being sold to open. And because put selling is a big strategy, especially in a bull market, that's one of the reasons that we see the fear index, but it's really not. The fear indexes are the dollar.
It's a big strategy in a bull market. And you know what? It's the eat like a bird and poop like an elephant.
Yes, indeed. Okay. So in the meantime, okay, as we go to the Monday night call stocks, okay, and here we go. So Apple, okay, Alpha, Papa Lima, and of course, we've been long Apple for a little bit now, and it continues to charge higher.
It's the Tim Cook special.
And we thought that 136 would be some resistance, and sure enough, it got almost to 136, but it is continuing to trend higher and break out. And I think if it gets through 136, you're probably looking at new all-time highs once again.
Oh, you're looking at 140 easy.
I mean, look, this is as Andy will tell you, he loves the stock. He was going to buy it for his new grandchildren, both coming not too far away now, baby.
A couple of months.
But he'll buy some for both of them because he believes that this is a long-term. And I think that, look, I can only see Apple, listen, we'll be shorted at times too, but if I'm going to buy it and put it away, I can only see them improving. I don't ever see them getting into any major difficulty on their own.
They're very cautious. And as you said last week, you couldn't understand why they haven't bought, all of these other companies and all that. They're very conservative. They're really a very conservative company.
Right. I get it. I mean, look, I just thought, listen, I think it's a natural for a company like that to have
massive cash hoard, huh?
The phone service, for example, which is just recurring.
Yeah, of course. They got so much cash. Oh my God.
So in the meantime, it's still, 132 to 136. And again, we think it's going higher, but it's got to get through 136 before I can actually make a call.
I'll tell you something. If Tim Cook came out and said, with their cash hoard, he said, we're going to put 1% of our cash hoard in Bitcoin. Oh my God. You get a new high.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. By the way, don't think that's too out of the question.
No, it's not. Listen, somebody texted me today about, the banks, we hear everybody whine and bitch about cryptocurrencies, right? Yeah. But the banks are buying it now as part of the portfolios. So
I know, and where did they start at the highs?
Well, I would argue with that, and I would argue that Jamie Dimon was involved long before he finally said it was okay. I don't ever believe anything that comes out of their mouth. I mean, it could be forming a cup. I mean, again, I don't look at that pattern too often. It just, if it's automatic like it was in coffee, I will comment. But I don't talk about patterns. I just talk about what's going on here because that's really all I care about. I don't care about all this. I care about what's happening now. Okay. I hope that makes sense to you, but I am a much shorter time guy that I can see what I want to see based on the trend that is forming. And I'm not looking for these long-term patterns that take, months to actually develop. Okay. In the meantime, AMD, Alpha Michael Delta, look, we're long and this continues to go higher again. Now we were short for a while, but once again, we're breaking out the new levels. 84 we were watching last week. Well, now we're at 88 again. So bottom line is this is probably the high, which is 89 and 85 to 89. Let me clean this crap up. Here, let's start over. I don't have to keep all this in here.
I guess they found some semiconductors to sell in the semiconductor shortage, huh?
Somewhere, right? Or, listen, I had a buddy of mine tell me he thinks this is going to 120. I said, okay, whatever. What do you want me to tell you? Okay, it's going to 120. All right, good.
Because it's like anything, Bubba. When semiconductor prices go up, they're not going to lower them so quick.
Right.
If ever.
Bravo Alpha, and of course we are long Baba.
This is again, sector rotation. I've been seeing it in the FXI. We've seen money flowing into Chinese stocks a little bit, and that's pumping up Baba too.
Right, and we are along the FXI as well. We don't cover it here, but we are along that as well. But in the meantime, again, if I look at this chart, I'm going to tell you that 225 should be support. If not, then 220. And the first real target to the upside is probably 235. Okay. And again, it's not that big of a stretch to get there. Remember, this thing moves sometimes $6, $7 a day. So 225, 235 with a backstop at 220 is another potential entry. Okay. BitQ, Bravo, India, Tango, Quebec. It's just consolidating. And as we said back a couple of weeks ago, we expected a big move. Well, it tried to move, but where did it end up? Right back in the middle of nowhere. Okay. And this is very consistent with what's going on in Bitcoin itself. And I said that if you were on to play it, 22 was a good level. And that was turned out to be, pretty solid support. Even with this big drop down, it came right back to 20.
Decent correlation, Bubba. I mean, it underperformed a little bit today, but there's a nice correlation between Bitcoin and this stock.
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody had sent us all the mix and part of it's Riot and Mara and some of the stuff we traded already. But in the meantime, like I said,
it's soup. It's crypto soup.
Crypto, and this is a way, if you want to be in this space, to participate without tremendous risk, as you would,
and with pretty good liquidity.
Right. So again, in the meantime, to me, this is still 22 to 24. It's got to give me a decision and break out in one direction or the other.
Bitcoin, crypto soup.
CGC, Charlie Golf Charlie. Again, the pot stocks. Now again, you can see, even with the drought, which, there's a lot of pot growing out in the West, they have not exactly exploded. Now, I think Andy and I agree here that pot we're really, if you're playing in these environments, you are betting on a federal approval.
I have to tell you, Bubba, I was thinking about this weekend, and I think there's a 65% chance you get that within the next year.
55 or 65?
65. Okay. 65. I think the odds are good because they need money. And you know what? Biden is going to collapse. He's going to give in.
They seem too dumb to make the decision. I mean, Trump could have made the decision. I don't understand what they're waiting for. I mean, every state's going to ratify it. So why not just make it federal and then let the bank, listen, every business benefits if they legalize it. Do they not?
I think so.
Do the banks not benefit?
Biden is not in favor. He's in favor of decriminalization. He's not in favor of legalization.
He's in favor of defunding the police too. Who the hell knows what that is?
Exactly.
Anyways, so right now.
By the way, on that note, the guy who won the New York City mayoral election was an ex-cop.
Right.
God bless him.
Well, there'll be law and order in New York, as I read over the weekend. In the meantime, it was 23 to 26 last week. It's still 23 to 26. It has not changed. Okay. Curl F, Charlie, Uniform, Romeo, Lima, Foxtrot. Okay. And again, this is just like the rest. It's just hanging it around. Like if you ever watch Rounders, it's just hanging it around right in the middle. Okay. I would suspect that, again, this will be the same as any of the other pot stocks. And again, this is a way. Curl F is a retail chain. I think what, Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, that's where their headquarters are, but they're in several states.
No, they're all over.
I like this one the best because it's a U.S. based, and when we do get legalization, it should favor the U.S. stocks. They're not going to favor the Canadians,
Right.
So
I think they're going
like
to all the pot. I think all the pot stocks go to Pluto when it happens. But I mean,
absolutely
around doing, if you're playing in this space right now, you're strictly gambling. Okay.
right.
Um, no way it happens. Okay. Here's some opinions. I heard Clarence Thomas say it should be federal today. Well, I agree with that. Hunter Biden, the pot star. They can't even. Well, again, right. Well, we know the government is a little bit screwed up to begin with. Okay. So in the meantime, okay. Again, if you want to play this, you're gambling on legalization right now. Okay, that's really what everything is waiting for. And Chewy, Charlie Hotel Whiskey Yankee. Well, we're starting to break out, and last week we said 74 to 80, and we've now broken above 80. Okay, so if this
Love
is
the
not,
action,
right, and if this is not a false breakout, then we would make this 80 to 85 for now, but with a real chance to go back into the 90s. Okay? Yeah. This is very bullish looking now, and has recovered much of the beat down it had taken from 92 to 64. I mean, we're well past halfway back. Look, again, at the end of the day, 80, 85 should be some resistance, but it certainly has a chance to break out to make new highs. Okay. So I would suspect that this is on its way. It's a great company. Andy and I both use them. So, we'll see. And of course, Coinbase, Charlie India, Oscar India, November. This is another representation of the crypto space. Okay. And this is probably the safest because, they don't have every cryptocurrency on Coinbase either, right? They only have,
right. They only have the big liquid ones.
Okay.
And we were, by the way, Bubba and I were talking about this over the weekend. We talked about this on Sunday, and we were saying that, this is the ultimate pick and shovel play on this. This is the CME or the ICE. This is something that makes money on volume. This is a very interesting. I had said all along when it dropped, I liked it below the reference price. I continue to like it below the reference price, but we're coming very close. We're $3.31 away.
All right. And in the meantime, we're still in that same range of 220 to 250. Yeah. Okay. And we haven't got through to 250 yet. So we'll look at it then. But the options, the one thing I did notice, okay, is the volatility is coming down a little bit, which is a good thing.
That's good.
Okay.
So we can hedge it.
We'll continue to follow it. It may be still a little bit virgin for us to get too involved here, but we'll continue to trade. Eventually we will trade it much more frequently, and it will be in one of the portfolios as we put together some new portfolios. Okay. And of course, DraftKings, Delta Kilo November Golf, and sure enough, down to 45, and now it's back in the 50s again. Okay. And last week we said 45 to 55, and now it's certainly 50 is real solid support once again. And it looks like 55 is going to be the resistance level. Now, again, we can look at this a number of different ways, but what I would just say to everybody when I'm looking at this, I own it. Okay. But if you look at this part, okay, and you look at this part, it only tells me one thing, that there's a much bigger move coming, and I don't think it's down. What do you think?
There's a lot of passion about this stock. There's Bubba and I like this company. We like the franchise on the fantasy. We like it, but there's a lot of others who do not like this stock. I will tell you, this stock reminds me so much of Tesla when it was going through its machinations, when it was, way below 100 and it was, all kinds of stuff. I think eventually this company does what Tesla did. But I mean, when, I have no idea. We'll trade the trends until then. But this stock I really like.
And this will be going into a portfolio eventually as well. In the meantime, I am long. That's all I can say. Okay. Fast Foxtrot Alpha Sierra, and we did reverses, I think. Did we or didn't we? Now I'm confusing myself. I don't remember. I got so many positions I can't remember. Okay. I screwed up big time 5. Well, what are you doing, buddy? Doc, you're my heart surgeon. What are you doing to me? Okay. In the meantime, just reverse yesterday. Okay. So in the meantime, okay, the banks did have a little bit of a sell-off. So, this has been, obviously took a big hit from 126 to 95. All right. And at the end of the day, okay, it's really just, in my opinion, stuck between 105 and 115. Okay. And I'd be looking to sell it at 115.
Yeah.
Okay.
The banks, baby.
Yep. The
You
banks,
know,
the
Fed's
banks.
going to start tightening. It's going to make it a little bit more tough. That's the sector that might get hit.
They've also got earnings coming in 2 weeks as well. So we'll see. Facebook, look at
$1
it.
trillion club today. $1 trillion club.
There you go.
$1 trillion club. First time Zuckerberg.
Yep. We're long it, and it continues to go higher. And we thought 340 might be a little resistance, and it was for about 2 seconds, and bang, now it's almost at 360. Okay.
They reward the company that that ignores everyone's privacy by putting them in the $1 trillion club.
Yeah, of course.
I
Listen,
love the action in the stock. I love it. You know, I like the way it's trading. I like trading it with the trend. But as a company, it's one of my least favorites.
look at the bottom line is if you're on Facebook, you are the product, and that's it. It's that simple. Okay.
You're making money. You're on Facebook. You're making money for the Zuck.
Right. And you are the product because they're selling your name to everybody.
That's right.
In the meanwhile, this could be a potential blow off. I would
Maybe they should maybe we should call it Pimp Book.
I would watch it for a potential short position. That's just a short-term short. Okay. Obviously, we're not reversing, but from a blow-off standpoint, heavy volume, straight spike up. If you do trade that pattern and watch it in the morning, you might get a quick trade out of it. In the meantime, for what we're concerned, 340 support, 360. But again, we're not sellers; we're only buyers. But 340 would be where I'd be looking to buy it again. And I'm not a seller at any level. Goldman Sachs, Gulf, Sierra. All right, well, again, we're just kind of in the same. If you look at FAS, this looks the same. Okay. So at the end of the day, okay, remember that, it's kind of in a little bit of a downtrend. We are shorted. Okay. And certainly there is no reason to believe, okay, that we're going to go up anytime soon. Now it does have earnings on the 13th. But right now, as I look at it, I'm going to just say that it's going to be 350 to 370. Okay. So we're near the upper end of a potential selling spot. Okay. Home Depot, Hotel Delta. Wait a second. I can't type either. Yeah, I can't type when I'm live either. How about that? Okay. And of course, we're still short this. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if it's getting closer.
Right. It looks like there's a potential bottom there.
Yeah. It had a little spike off the.
Interesting. Just below a big number. It's the, a round number. Kind of has that hallmark.
If you do follow the blow off pattern, okay, this would have been an ideal opportunity, which I believe I commented on last week. Okay, as a trade, okay, to potentially buy right here. You can see, okay, but again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We do what we do. In the meantime, for now, for today, 310 to 320. Okay. IWM, India Whiskey Michael, under a little pressure today, but under a little pressure from the highs. Okay. And at the end of the day, we're still long. Okay. And I would say, excuse me, I apologize. We did reverse the not the future, but the ETF. Okay. So now I would be looking to sell this somewhere near 233. Okay. Let me clean this up a little bit.
But we do have to remember, this is a member of the winning relay team between the Dow, the Russell, the NASDAQ, and the S&P, and they keep passing the baton.
Right. Well, again, the trend has turned, and I would look at this probably 226 to 233. Okay. And I would not have a problem being on the short side of this for now. Okay. Again, that could change, but for now, that's the position that I would take. And Mara, Michael Alpha, Romeo Alpha, it continues to try to grind higher as it pauses at resistance, which is, again, another attempt. Now, this time up is a little bit more bullish than the last time up because it didn't gap up, and it's trying to grind higher right along with Bitcoin. So, I would watch the 30 level, and if it breaks out, I would certainly be looking at a potential opportunity to step in and buy it. Okay. However, for now, I would think you'd want to watch it. And I think it's probably for now still 25 to 30.
Yeah, we put a very wide range on Bitcoin, 30 to 40,000 roughly. And so,
Well, I mean, again, all you have to do,
Yeah.
if you really want to know where these ranges come from, all you do is look at the option market. I mean,
right.
between
Right.
now and the end of the week, okay, it's expecting a $3 move. Okay,
Right.
so $5 is not that big of a deal.
No, not at all.
Okay. NIO, once again, it looks like it wants to,
Oh, this has been explosive.
looks like it wants to run away. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Obviously, there must be some news on these EV stocks. But in the meantime, here we are pushing 50 all time high.
The news is that that China is cracking down on Tesla, and that's to NIO's benefit.
Okay. And these are, the recent highs, right? We just broke out of a 3-month range. Okay. Now, again,
Looking
I
sharp.
think get back to the all-time highs. I don't know. I
That's
mean,
a
look,
very
I'm
good-
long it. I own it. But again, I would look at this as I looked at the others and say, well, maybe this might have a chance, especially up around 50, to reverse. I would, if you trade the blow off, you know how to do it. Okay. But in the meantime, I am long it and I'm hedged it, so it's all good. Okay. When the video splits, we will follow it. Yes, we used to follow, but it got too expensive. Yeah, when it goes 4 for 1, whenever that is, I think that's soon. Okay, we will be trading. Okay, once again, we will put it back in our list. In the meantime, 46 to 50. Okay, Nougat, November Uniform Golf Tango, and this has been weaker than gold, and this is actually breaking to the downside. Okay?
Which is a bad sign for gold.
Right. And we thought 65 was so we never, and this is what I commented in the pregame, Andy. I said the rallies in gold have not been very exciting, which leads me to believe we're going much lower.
Right. The rallies in gold have been really pathetic, actually.
So I would suggest that that we look and understand that this is a sign of weakness. Now, again, I would look now to be a seller probably at 62. I'm not a buyer at any point in this right now. I would suspect that 55 will act as some support, so 55 to 62. And then Penn, Papa Echo, November.
Interesting. This one passed the bullish baton over to DraftKings.
Right. And it's kind of, floating, along the bottoms. Okay. It was 110. It's obviously lost a lot of ground. But really, for my money, listen, I love all gambling stocks because, if you've watched them for any length of time, whether you go to the old brick and mortar casinos that have all exploded higher, okay, or you now look at the online casinos, which I believe will explode higher because the taste for gambling continues to grow, whether it be through Barstools and Penn National or through DraftKings and Fantasy or FanDuel. So this industry, I think, is burgeoning into a massive industry. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, look, Vegas is crawling with people. People are all the same. If they could gamble on their computers, they will do it. They will like action for sporting events. This is a growth industry.
Listen, I got the DraftKings app, as I have stations and the others. But at the end of the day, I think that this is the coming, the convenience and not having to run out. You want to make a bet, and I think it's only getting much bigger.
Yeah, and by the way, the in-game gambling is huge. It's huge.
Love the in-game.
It's huge. This is a huge potential.
Well, actually, it's actually you can create an edge there as well. Right. In the meantime, so the 75 to 85 for now. Pick Papa India, Charlie Kilo. And, look, it came up to a resistance at 46 and failed. Okay, now, does it mean anything? No, it's still 42 to 46. Nothing has really changed.
Right.
Okay. This is basically in a downtrend. Okay. And until it reverses trend, you got to look to be a seller. Of course, it could reverse at any moment. But right now, it did make a first test of 46 and fail. Okay. So we'll have to assume until something tells us different that 46 is a good spot to sell it. Okay. The Qs, Quebec. Well, these are like in Pluto. This is the asteroids and meteors that China's looking at.
It's the NASDAQ, man.
Look, it just keeps going up. Okay. What do you want to tell it can't go up anymore?
No, okay. It can't. I mean, you know what? It looked like this, 10 10 years ago, it looked like this.
You mean 20 years ago? You
It just keeps going.
90s?
No, I'm saying, after digested that whole craziness, it's looked like this for a long time.
Right.
And, you want to fight it? Hey, that's like jumping in front of a freight train.
Right. Exactly. So in the meantime, 350, 345, 350 support, there is nowhere to sell it. Okay. Riot, Romeo India Oscar Tango, very similar to Mara.
Yeah.
And again, this point is like 36s. And this is, again, this rally is much more powerful than this one, this spike higher. And, obviously it will relate to cryptos. If it breaks above here, I would watch the 36 level. And if it gets on top of it and starts to hold there, that would probably be a place to step in and buy. But it looks a heck of a lot better than it has looked over the last few weeks. And this may be also a precursor to the cryptos going higher. Okay. You got any thought here?
I think, yeah, I think it looks good. I think it looks okay. No question. Listen, a 50% retracement on that move in Bitcoin takes it to where? It moved down almost 30,000, moved up to 45, 50,000. That's easy. It could do that.
Right. And of course,
and by the way, if Apple put 0.5% of their cash hoard into Bitcoin, the thing would be at 100,000.
Right.
Right.
Roku, which we're still long, and of course, the move up is a little bit sharper. Okay. Now, in my opinion, okay, we are long, so that's good. But in my opinion, this has to either pull back, which would be, I think, probably 400, or consolidate somewhere between 420 and 440.
Yeah, but that's hard. It's hard to say that because this is another rocket ship.
No, I understand. But again, as you know, when they go too parabolic, they're usually going to have some sort of a retracement.
Yeah, of course.
So either
but the question is from what level, right?
Right. Well, in my opinion, this either consolidates, okay, eventually, or it comes back down and sells off a little bit before it takes off again. In the meantime, there's nothing really you can do here unless you're already in it, because you're not going to chase it up here and you can't sell it. So
pretty steep move. Pretty steep.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, that would be this. I have no real levels here. It just wants to go up. I'd watch for
the only thing I will say is today's the first day in a while that it hasn't closed near the high.
What hasn't?
Roku.
It's at the high. What do you mean? It hasn't closed at the high?
No. I'm just saying during the session.
Well,
if you look at all these others,
441 and a $400 stock is pretty close.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I'm just looking at the bars.
And right, I understand. In the meantime, okay, the SPY, Sierra Papa Yankee. Look, as I said last week, okay, there's no place to sell it. Okay?
That puppy looks like it has room to me. I mean, that looks like it looks good.
They want to go higher, and are we going to get in the way of it? No, we're not. Okay, we're long, and we're going to stay there.
Enjoy the ride.
Exactly. I would say 422, 425 would be levels to jump back in. Square, Sierra Quebec.
We've been saying, listen, he's got something in his back pocket and custody on cryptos.
I know.
Look at he's a smart guy. This stock is this stock looks to me to be headed to a new high.
I would not be surprised at all. I mean, again, he's heavily involved in the crypto space as well.
Yeah.
And when the smartest guys in the world are involved, that should tell you something. Okay.
And he's not fickle about it. Listen, Musk, he's in, he's out, whether he's trading it or he's whatever he's doing. He's playing with our minds. Dorsey's a little different. Dorsey's in it to win it.
Right. 100%. In the meantime, we thought 230, 250. So watch 250 if it gets there. Okay. And I would suspect you're going to see some support around 240. So the range is kind of tightening. Okay. And we'll see how it trades. Remember, anytime we're long.
You know what's funny about the two of them, Bubba? Musk's personality is like Dorsey looks, and Dorsey's personality is like Musk looks.
Right. I agree.
It's really interesting.
I agree with that.
They're pretty interesting characters.
Tilray, another pot stock, and making a nice little move here. But again, it's just stuck between that range of 16 to 20. Okay. And until this, although it's Canadian, again, I believe that all the pot stocks will explode higher.
I agree 100%. You get that through these things are multiples.
In the meantime, there's nothing really to do. Again, if you want to play these, you're gambling. And certainly it was just at 16. So you might as well try to wait until it'll come back for you if you want to gamble on it. There's no point to try to jump in early or chase it. You know, you'll get the vibes. You'll see it break out when there's some rumors. And right now there's not even any rumors. Okay. TNA, Tango November Alpha, again, which came right up to resistance and is now falling. And of course, this is part of the NASDAQ, excuse me, the Russell world. And to me, this is probably, 102, 95 to 102 would be how I'd be watching this. We don't trade it much and we don't carry it in any of the portfolios. So, but in the meantime, that would be what I would look at here. Tango Quebec. She's just like the NASDAQ. Obviously, this is the NASDAQ on steroids. And last week we said, watch the 110 level. Look what happened. Okay. This is exactly what you would expect. A market that went up sharply, consolidated, and then resumed the overall uptrend. And I would suspect you will see the same thing again.
And by the way, one thing we haven't mentioned today that we should mention is that, keep in mind, Wednesday, end of the quarter, a lot of window dressing going to go on. So, just be look at it with, a little bit of a grain of salt. Look at the market action over the next 2 days.
Right. And it'll be very quiet, which gives it even more room to do some wild things.
Yeah.
In the meantime, again, I would look at this. I would watch the 120 level. I mean, we're long, so I'm not looking to sell it at any price. I would watch 120 and see how the action creates around 120. Again, this is not a time to be overly aggressive in these markets. These markets are not cooperative, nor are they giving you enough action to be aggressive.
And I got the signal from the discipline of Bubba. You have to ask me what signal I got.
Yeah, what signal did you get?
I found out that Bubba is flying into Vegas on the quarter end, probably made that purposely to keep him away from the market. Which is not a bad idea, folks.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll be trading from the plane. It don't matter. I log in right up there too.
I'm just saying that's the first thing that hit me.
That's the secret. In the meantime, again, these are very thin, and this is a time to be passive, not aggressive. We will tell you when it's time to be aggressive. Tesla has broken away from that 625 we were watching because we said last week, notice the bullish pattern into resistance and then the breakout. Again, it's just something that you want to understand. When the market is ascending and you're seeing an ascending pattern, even in a downtrend, if it breaks out, it's probably going to reverse or go up. And that's, of course, exactly what happened. Now, again, I don't trade this anymore. But in the meantime, 700 would be a spot I would look at as some resistance, and probably 625 to 700. The VXX, Victor X-ray. Well, it's broken down again. Okay. And it's now below. We were watching 30, but again, we've been short this for a long time.
I love, being short this makes so much sense. It's just you're riding the trend and you're riding the time decay. How beautiful is that?
And even with the BS move that Andy beat me on, it still didn't go past 35.
Yeah, but look, also in my service, one of the things I've been telling everyone for a long time is, look, I'm always, if I want to play the VIX, I'm always kind of looking for spots to buy it. I'm using
we've given spots to buy.
Right, exactly.
Not a reverse split, and it's at the 35.
No, not in this stuff. This is an intraday overnight thing for me that I trade once in a while, and I've had a lot of success with it because I approach it disciplined.
We've had a lot of success right here with it when it's right. Okay.
Right. Absolutely. But look, to me, I know Bubba thinks it's going to 10. To me, hey, I think probably we'll see 20 again before you see 10, but we'll see.
Well, we could redouble up here. We're the same price we were last time we made the bet.
I know, exactly. I don't want to take your money again, Bubba.
I want you to have it.
Go ahead. I love you.
XBI, watch 135. And of course, look what happened. It stuck around and consolidated at 135. We said there'd be a big move, and bang, 142. Now, what can I tell you? This is 135 to 142, and I wouldn't want to be a seller right now. Okay. And of course, Zulu Michael, okay, which we are still long, and there you go. So to me, this looks like, again, this is the same pattern, right? If this is the characteristic in all strong markets, okay, that little ascending view here, there it is right there, all the way down. you see these little patterns that start to run higher, and that's what you expect. Okay, again,
Right. And we said it last week. You know, the post-pandemic wore off, and now it's on its own as a business, and it's a good business.
okay. My new conviction this week is Digital Turbine. Okay. Now, first, let me look at MRMD, Michael Romeo, Michael Delta. What this? Oh, this is a 98-cent stock. What the hell is this? I know we were talking about something when you told me to look at it. I don't remember what I was talking about though.
Maramed. I don't know what that is.
It's got to have something to do with what we were talking about earlier. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was pot. Okay. He'll tell me.
Sounds like it. Yeah, marijuana med. Yeah, makes sense.
Pot. What does MSO mean? Do you think I know what that means?
MSO? I don't know.
Hallucinogenics? Okay. I mean, at 98 cents, look, you want a day of flyer. This is you're gambling here. This is like going to Vegas. Okay. Let me see here. We're at Amazon, Alpha Michael Zulu November. I haven't looked at this for so long. I don't even know. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at it again. We're right at resistance. We're actually long it, although I don't trade it anymore and I don't cover it anymore, but we are actually long it. To me, you know, if I'm looking at this 3,400 would be a spot to jump in. Again, I don't want to trade it. I have no interest. Okay. I do own a very small amount. Okay. But I don't trade it. To me, there's so many better
Bezos is going on a spaceship. Maybe it'll take him to Pluto.
There's so many better things to trade than this. This to me is just silly. Okay. But again, it's all good. APPS, Alpha Papa Sierra. That looks pretty good. Okay. I mean, look, to me, here you go. There's exactly what we talked about. An ascending view. It got a little bit too far away from the trend. It looks like it's starting to consolidate, which is exactly what I would expect. I mean, I'd be a buyer of this if I traded it. I don't trade it, but I certainly could not knock it. Okay. And I might even look at it. I can, you know, now that let's see what kind of liquidity I got. Not bad. You know, this might be something to be tradable. Okay. Certainly I'd be a buyer, if anything. I'm not a seller for sure. Okay. I'm only a buyer of this based on what I can see. And again, I don't care what they do. I only care about the price action. PLTR, Papa Lima Tango Romeo. Look at this. My goodness gracious. What happened? It was just $17. And of course, look at it go. Okay. Look, again, same. You see this characteristic in a lot. Okay. A nice solid trend higher. And it got a little bit away off the trend. So I would not be surprised if it consolidates here a little bit and meets the trend line once again before it starts to take off again. Again, I'm not saying that's what will happen for sure. I'm just saying that's what I'd be looking for. Okay. It's going to 4. Okay. I don't doubt it. Look, again, I'm sorry. You're right, Chops. 380 to 400 is good. I'm sorry. My bad. Okay. Multi-state operator. Okay. So Planetary, look, I would not be a buyer here, although I do own it. I think that you have to, you know, again, let it pull back a little. If you miss it, you miss it. You know, remember, when we tell you not to be aggressive, we're not talking because to hear ourselves talk. It is because that's what I believe. That this is not a time to be aggressive in the markets. Okay. XLU, X-Ray Lima Uniform. This is utilities, right? Okay. Look, the utilities are getting hammered because nobody cares and everybody knows everything is perfect in the world, right? You know, this does not look very good. I personally, I don't trade this, but if I did, I would look to sell it at 65. Okay. But I don't. So take that for what it's worth. You know, to me, I don't want to trade anything that is that conservative. Okay. In general, you know, when I look at a $63 stock that's only got 50-cent strikes on the side going up, it means there ain't much movement going on. Okay. But I'm sure it probably has a decent dividend. I don't know, but yeah, 3%. So again, for a dividend player, not a problem. And for me, I'd be looking to be a seller. Okay. Let's see here. It looks great. Yes, it does, Rob. It looks very good. ACN, Alpha Charlie November. It looks pretty good. I mean, it gapped up on earnings. Now, the important thing to remember here is that it held. Okay. It didn't fill the gap right away. It looks like it's trying to make higher lows. Okay. But also at the same time, you know, it could be, you know, making one of those, you know, triangle patterns that will create a big move. And right now, I can only assume it would be up. I can't assume anything else because that looks like the trend. Okay. Net November Echo Tango. Wow. I mean, this is everything, right? This is just straight up. Okay. And of course, it looks to me like it's trying to flatten out a little bit, but it's pretty solid trending higher. I mean, certainly, if I were going to look at it to buy it, it might be at 100. Okay. It might be at 105. I don't know. Again, I don't trade it. So, but it looks good. Whatever it is, it looks good. Okay. And ASAN, Alpha Sierra, Alpha November. Wow. Okay, who the hell is this? Asana. I knew a girl named Asana once. I don't know. It looks like it's consolidating, but it looks pretty solid. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, it looks that's a bullish trend.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what Planter does. There's something technical. I don't know. Honestly, listen, I just buy stuff. I don't know what they do. I buy it by price. I could care less. Unless it's an industry I'm really interested in. Facility, after getting hammered, okay, has made a nice recovery and looks pretty strong. Okay. I mean, I don't trade this because the options are, at least they were. Now they're getting better. Okay. But they were way too out of whack for me. But I think at 55, I would look at this. Okay. Maybe 58. Okay. I mean, it looks pretty good. No worry. No need to apologize, my brother. It's all good. Okay. Yeti. When did they stop making microphones and start making luggage? That's what I want to know. I mean, how you like that? They make microphones and luggage. Yeti.
Interesting.
I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, look, I don't know. I can't give you a reason to sell it. I mean, I can't give you a reason to sell much right now. So
no,
it looks pretty solid. Okay. Good day trading made 200 future trade. Good for you. Okay. Every day you make money. It's like the ATM for you, big boy. Okay. So at the end of the day, look, Andy said it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. It is quarter end, and it's into what we know is going to be, not only is volume light right now to begin with, but it's only going to get worse the rest of this week because you've got
and next week.
Well, yeah, right, because it's a short week, but it's really going to get bad into the holiday. I mean, next Monday is a national holiday. We'll be here, but it is a national holiday. Everything is closed. Okay. So just remember that you could get what we call the vacuum effect in these markets. Okay. Which means that you can get one big order that can drive a stock or a future a large amount in a short period of time, and then it can revert right back to where it was once the big order's out of the way. You can, if you want to see what the experience that is, take a look at an overnight market, like a gold's overnight, or when they're having some big moves. A lot of these things happen on no volume, okay? And because there's nobody going to stop it. So if it's a big sell or a big buy, it could just take off in one direction. And once the buyer or the seller is gone, typically it will revert back to mean. Why? Because the market makers aren't going to sit there and get picked off. They're going to keep raising the price or lowering the price, okay? SoFi, Sierra Oscar, Frank, no, that's not Frank, Foxtrot. I knew Frank wasn't right. India. This don't look so good. Okay. I mean, I don't know what they do. I've heard of them, I think. Okay. But at the end of the day,
finance company. I think they're a finance company.
That does all the college stuff.
Yeah, so, I think they're a finance company.
In the meantime, look, if you're buying it as an investment, probably not a bad spot to step in. If you're trying to trade it, I think you'd have to be shorted. And again, I'm not a big fan of shorting $18 stocks as a rule. Okay. But I would say I'd be a seller at 21 for now. Okay. So in the meantime, again, we urge you to be very passive. Okay. It's better, as we used to put on the Saturday call, it's better to wish you were in a trade than to wish you weren't, because the ones you miss, you can cry and whine about, but the ones you get stuck in are expensive. Okay. Andy, as always, brother, I'll see you Wednesday, man.
Thank you. I'll see you. I'll pick you up. I
can't wait to come to the pool because my pool ain't ready yet. So next Sunday, baby, we'll be hanging out.
That's right. That's right. And listen, everyone, be careful because it's a funky week. Holiday week.
Yeah.
And you know what? Enjoy the holiday. Listen, look at where we were last year at this time and where we are this year. Thank God. Enjoy family, friends. Can even go out without a mask on. It's a beautiful thing. Let's enjoy it.
Encouraging you, and we are encouraging you to be very cautious. It's a very thin market. And again, it's better to watch and learn sometimes than it is to be involved. Even if you miss a trade, there'll be plenty of trades. And when we get busy again someday, there'll be thousands of trades. Okay?
Exactly.
Oh, I got to look at one more. This guy asked earlier, and I promised I would look at it. India Tango Uniform Bravo. I looked at this
Oh
last.
yeah, that's a Brazilian bank stock, I think.
Don't look too good. It looks like it broke to the downside.
The only thing I will say
Oh,
is
$6.40.
the only thing I will say is that
What is it? Italian, right? Italian, you said, or Brazilian?
Brazilian, the
Okay.
Brazilian real has broken out on the upside above 20, which I think is significant event. Now, stocks like this should follow the real. I like everything Brazil based.
Okay.
But listen, right now this thing had a pretty big move from 466. I'd watch it, I'd look at it, and I like everything Brazil. I've liked it for a while.
Brazil 66. All right, one
Yeah,
more.
by the way, look at Vale, VALE.
Oh, I gotta look at COP right now before I forget.
Okay.
I promise I'd look. This is
Okay.
Phillips.
No problem.
And look at it, just consolidating. Okay. I mean, it's certainly consolidating towards up. It's certainly involved with oil. Anything oil should be bought. To me,
The oil stocks are lagging a bit.
I'd be looking at 58 if I were going to look to buy this. And what do you want me, Bali?
Yeah, look at Vale because that's
Victor
Brazil.
Alpha Lima
That's,
Echo.
that's a big Brazil. That'll tell us a lot about the currency.
Victor Alpha Lima Echo. Yeah, up at the top.
Consolidating.
Yeah. I mean, not a huge mover. All right, anyways, kids, have a great July 4th. Have a great holiday. And I appreciate all of you, especially the people that gave me my freedom, at least for now. I thank you all. And in the meantime, have a great week, everybody. And we will see you around the neighborhood. And of course, be careful. That's my words to you. Do not get too aggressive. You will not be happy. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great
Thank
week
you.
and then a great
Bye
weekend.
now.
Thanks.